Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Andrew, and this is White and Wordy. White and Wordy is going to be my ongoing YouTube channel where I review games, basically. And my first review is going to be for Wolfenstein Youngblood. Wolfenstein Youngblood has the potential to be a really fun game, but only if played under very specific circumstances. It's ostensibly designed as a two-player cooperative game more than strictly a single-player adventure like the previous Wolfenstein games. There's these new prep signs that you can use that will boost your partner's health and armor, and there are these doors that you can't go through until you and your partner are ready to proceed. There are even these little boxes that you find around the environment that when both of you and your partner open at the same time, you gain an extra life, which you have 3 of, and if you run out of these 3 lives, then you have to start from the last checkpoint. Even when you first start your play session, the game asks you if you want to keep your game open for other players to join, so it's clear that they want you to play this game with a friend. The thing is with Wolfenstein Youngblood is that you can still play this game by yourself. I would just avoid this if possible. I ended up playing some of the game after having played most of it with a friend, and it's just not as fun. There obviously isn't as much strategizing because you don't have a person to talk to strategize the way you're going to enter a combat encounter. And I felt like the enemies focused on you rather than your AI partner when you're on your own, which made the combat encounters less manageable. And it honestly kind of reminded me of the combat encounters from the new Colossus, which isn't necessarily a good thing. The game also has this really weird checkpoint system where sometimes it'll send you back really, really far. So if you're playing by yourself and you're dying a lot and you have to keep going back to these really bad checkpoints, it makes the game really not fun at all. The game takes place around 20 years after the events of the new Colossus, and you play as BJ Blazkowicz's daughters, Jess and Sophie. The game's narrative is definitely a lot less serious than it was in, say, the new Colossus, and the ways that Jess and Soph act towards each other while murdering Nazis was sometimes a little funny, but usually a tad goofy. The new Colossus had a lot of these really wild story sections with some really crazy cutscenes, and Youngblood doesn't have anything on that same level. It's also kind of weird that this game takes place so long after the new Colossus, especially when you consider that there are characters that say that BJ Blazkowicz is the Hitler killer, even though that never really took place, which I thought would happen in Wolfenstein 3, so it's kind of weird. The game's world is designed similarly to the new Colossus, where you start in a hub and you go out on missions from there. But Youngblood's levels are definitely more open than previous Wolfenstein games. This game was co-developed by Arcane Studios, the guys behind the Dishonored games, and you can really tell. Streets will have balconies that you can jump onto, and then there are open windows that you can go in and scrounge for loot. There are these 3 main brother sections, and you can kind of do them in any order you want, and you can even do the side quests that lead you to shortcuts to get into the back ways of them. It makes for a little less linear of an experience, and I can really appreciate that. Wolfenstein Youngblood has a lot of light role-playing elements too, which I found kind of fun. Enemies will have different health bars, and they're only weak to certain weapons. There are coins that you can find scattered around the environment, and you can use them to upgrade your arsenal. There are skill points too that you can earn by leveling up, and you can dump them into a collection of different abilities. There are these areas around the game where they're gated by which abilities you have, so it was fun speccing my character one way while my partner specced the other way. Another good reason to play this game with a co-op partner. This game is pretty good if played under very specific circumstances, so I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. Playing Youngblood with a buddy was some of the best times I've had playing a Machine Games developed Wolfenstein game yet. When you're playing with a partner, the enemies definitely feel less bullet spongy, which ultimately made the combat encounters way more enjoyable. And strategizing the ways that we should upgrade our characters with our abilities was pretty fun. I just wouldn't go into Wolfenstein Youngblood thinking that this is going to be a great single-player game, because honestly, I feel like this game was made for co-op, and if you're not going to play this game with a friend, I would honestly just avoid this game entirely. Thanks for watching my first video game review with White and Wordy. It's going to be an ongoing series where I review games. It's not going to be super quick. I'm not going to be doing one every single week or anything like that. I'm just going to do them when I feel like I should. So hopefully you'll stay tuned and watch my next video. So thank you for watching.